Over the past several years, the projector sewing landscape has been changing rapidly. If you saw my last video, I introduced 3 options for projector sewing using a phone. Today, we're going to take a deeper dive into IntelliSew. I'm dedicating this whole video to really exploring what IntelliSew can do. Whether you're already using IntelliSew or want to get more out of it, or you're still trying to figure out which app is right for your setup, this video is for you. And I'll be honest, there really were a couple of things IntelliSew does that I didn't expect. So stick around, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly whether this app belongs in your projector sewing workflow. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Sheridith from Projector Sewing. This is the place to ditch that print and tape and actually enjoy sewing from PDF patterns. Let's get into it. Saad is the developer behind IntelliSew. When his wife Teresa started projector sewing, she ran into a few issues. While Pattern Projector worked well on her computer, it didn't work very well on her phone. The other part was that calibrating became annoying because someone, or the cat, would inevitably knock the projector and it would need to be recalibrated. Saad developed the app as a personal project originally just to solve those 2 problems, then kept adding features that his wife would request. At a certain point, his wife suggested this app could be useful to others, so they decided to release it. IntelliSew can be downloaded in the App Store for iPhones and iPads. It is currently not available to Android users. Once you come down to the app, you can find the description here. The basic features of this app are free, but there is an option for a pro subscription. If you scroll in and open up the description, it does tell you what comes with the free version, and then if you want to upgrade to the pro subscription, which features you get with the pro subscription. AI calibration is currently free during the beta process as they refine the AI calibration, but keep in mind in the future this may be only available to pro subscribers. Whether you're using Corner Calibration or AI calibration, on the home screen you're going to put calibrate. Then you could choose either 4-corner or AI here. I'm going to start with 4-corner, and I'm going to choose my mat, which is in inches. The videos will show me how to correctly align my mat so that it is inside the projection. With the 4-corner method, you're going to drag our target to match the size of your mat, and then we will measure it. Now that we have our projector connected to IntelliSew, we're going to go ahead and click Calibrate Projector. And we're going to do the AI calibration this time. It's going to have a video that walks you through the whole process, and I do recommend watching this the first time that you use it. And you need to choose the size of your mat. Now mine has small squares, so these are 1/2 inch squares on here, so I'm going to choose the 1/2 inch. Just choose the one that matches the mat that you will be calibrating to. Now we're going to make sure that this is on the mat. Now you can't see the white line. It is actually quite a bit larger than my mat here because my projected image is quite a bit larger than my mat, but there is a rectangle and my mat is inside of that rectangle. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that my mat is inside the frame. So let's see, let's get it here because it needs to recognize the size of my mat. Okay, let's see how that did. Okay, so this time it did fail. So let's go ahead and let's retry it again. Okay, let's jump into my second attempt using my purple mat. Again, I'm still going to choose that 1/2 inch mat. And instead of worrying about capturing my entire mat, I just wanted to get straight down and get a large portion of the mat, which actually seemed to work pretty well. Although I did get this little tiny rectangle, and I've done it in the past, and it's worked out a lot better. And getting the whole mat. So it kind of varied when I used this large mat with that large projection. But I'm going to have to go ahead and refine the projection. And all you do is I push the arrow and it adds to the length and then the height as well. And it was pretty close to accurate on my mat, but I could tell that the corners were also going to need refining. And so as I was doing this process, I'm thinking, is this really much faster than using the 4-corner calibration? And I've had mixed results with the AI calibration. Sometimes I use it and it works fabulously. The first time I didn't have to refine anything. And then sometimes like this one, I had to refine it quite a bit to get it accurate. I'm going to show you how I did it on my gray mat as well, which is a smaller mat. That worked the first time. All right, so let's try this gray, smaller Fiskars mat and see if it works any better. I went through the same process and it did succeed. And actually the squares looked like they lined up a lot better. It was really close, but I did notice I did need to refine it just slightly. It did get off the mat too a little bit, which I don't think is a big deal, but I went ahead and adjusted it to the corners of the mat and just slightly adjusted. You could see the top right corner is just skewed just slightly. So I did have to raise that corner and refine it, but the auto calibration got pretty close on the gray mat. All right, when you come to your home screen and after you have calibrated, ready to open your new pattern. If you want to project a new pattern, you can just come over to the project new pattern, but you may notice that on the right-hand side are going to be all your recently opened up patterns, and it's going to open up right where you left off. So I'm just going to double tap to open this one. And my pattern opened up right where I left off. To navigate this pattern, you can use 2 fingers to navigate the pattern. But you may be wondering, well, where's my menu? How am I going to get to a lot of things? So we're going to go over that now. Now you can always click on the question mark and it's going to explain all of these. As I go through them, you can see that you can come back to this anytime and it's going to tell you what all of these are. Now to bring up the main menu, what you're going to do is you're just going to tap the screen. One tap will get you there and you're going to see this circle menu. I'm just going to go ahead and start right here. We have lines getting a little bit thicker here. This is if you want to increase your line thickness. And you know, there's going to be a lot more than just the line thickness come up. On the left-hand side here, you're going to see where it says 2 pixels. I can either decrease that or I can increase that. And that's going to increase the line pattern line thickness along with any of the text there. Now moving on, you see this little squiggle, that's not something you click on, but you can click on the color and you can change the line color to anything you would like. Usually I use black or white, but it is nice that you can customize it maybe to your fabric for whatever might work best for you. there is a spectrum or there are sliders if you find that easier to choose your color. Okay, if you have a favorite color, I can go ahead and click that. That's what I want to add. And maybe later I might want to add a blue as well. So I'll put that on there. I'm going to close. I can also change the background fill. So maybe if you want it black, you can change the background color. I'm going to show you this just for a second here. So I've changed it. No, your screen is not looking weird. That is that I was able to change the background color and the line color for my visibility, okay? And this is the color combination. If I want to save this color combination, I really like it, I'm just going to push that plus sign right down here at the bottom, and it's going to add that color combination. Now, if you don't like that, you can obviously change how you would like it. You can also come back to the presets here. There is the black background with the neon green, black background with the white, and the white with the black background. They're already saved, but you can save those custom combinations that you make as well. Now, if I click back on the color wheel here, it's going to go back what the pattern naturally is. So my pattern does have green lines. Okay, so I'm just going to click on the layers button. This is where you can come and you can toggle on the layers that you need. You can also select all. You can select none, okay? Or you can just select the size that you want. And don't forget to have the text layer on as well. So that is the layers. It's pretty straightforward on that. We're all very familiar with that. We still have the outer menu here. That is the sub menu of our lines. It is still up. So let's go ahead and work our way around clockwise and let's talk about each of them, okay? This next one is where it's zoom and rotate. We have our rotate, so if we look at the box here, if we click on it, it will rotate it to the right. However many degrees are here. The default is 90, but you can change that. And this is a pro feature to change it to any degree that you would like. I could put in 45 degrees on there, and then I could say rotate, and then I have my pattern. Oops, I rotated again. I have my pattern on a bias here. Rotate it again, and it's 90 degrees. So you can change the degrees here. I can go back to 90 degrees here. And you can also rotate it the opposite way. Now we have our zoom, so we can say how much we want to zoom to. I can also push the plus or minus. And I love here that it does turn red when it's not at 100%, meaning don't start cutting when it's not at 100% because you've zoomed in. Maybe you've zoomed in quickly to see what the directions say. Then you want to make sure you get back to 100%. And give that check on there. If you just want to take a quick look at something, you want to zoom in, zoom out, you can also go reverse, go back on there. This is zoom and rotate feature. Let's go ahead and move on. We have our flip, and you see it's highlighted red. This submenu doesn't change, but this is our flip. So horizontal flip, you can also vertically flip. And the red is highlighting when that is activated, when it is done. Next, we have a move arrow, and what this does is it's just going to nudge your pattern. You can see it's just going slightly. So if you just need to maybe add some length for lengthening or shortening, you could use this feature here. This return arrow, you tap it, and it's going to get back to this main menu here. Next one I haven't gotten to play a lot with, and this is where you can recalibrate based on the thickness of your material. So if you're cutting out something that is a lot of layers and you want to make sure it is accurate, you just check this calibration grid and it will adjust for thickness, and you can make the grid go in and out. And it's hard to see kind of on this phone screen right now, but it does kind of adjust that. Next one is a quick look. And when you do quick look, you can just kind of zoom around. You can move around your pattern. Maybe you wanted to see something out here
and you just want to move, and then you take it off, it's going to go back to wherever you were. So if I was on the pattern, let's say I'm here, and I push quick look, I can move around the pattern. Now notice I'm on the size lines here. If I turn it off, it's going to jump right back to where I was cutting. So you don't lose your place while you're cutting. You could be cutting out your pattern and then say, hey, I want to check where I was at before, and you can zoom with your fingers, turn it off, and it's going to go right back to where I was cutting before. When I was cutting, I was like, hey, I want this menu to go away. It's in my way. And you can double tap that to make it smaller, but we don't want it there the whole time. All you need to do is just tap on the screen and it disappears. Tap once and it appears. This next feature is when you're cutting and you want to keep track of what pieces you already cut out. You press and hold, so it's a long press, and you can add a check mark. So I can come along, and if I've cut both of those pieces out, you can see I've cut both of those pieces out. And then I'm going to tap and do my quick look, and I can see which pieces I've already cut out. And I say, oh, okay, I need to cut out the other pieces. Let's go back to where I was. I'm going to zoom. I'm going to move to my next piece. I would cut it out, long press and hold, and add my annotation and make sure that I've cut them all out. So the annotations are kind of a quick and easy way to get to that. Now let's say you're in your pattern and you're all done cutting, you're ready to exit, maybe open up a new pattern, single tap to get our main menu here. Then you do a long press on the return. It's going to return you back to the main screen.
Now, as I mentioned before, some features in this app are for pro subscribers only, but the core functionalities will remain free. It's essentially everything that Pattern Projector, the app, can do is free in this app too, but they did add a subscription for some of the more advanced features, as they would really love to make this a full-time endeavor where they can actively develop and add features. So currently the paid features you can find listed on their website, but things such as adding check marks to track where you cut, quick look mode, which allows you to look around the pattern without messing up the projected version, and it's really useful if you're wanting to read small text and instructions on patterns or just jump around. Also, the rotating in other degree increments besides 90 degrees, like 45 degrees or unique degrees, that is a paid feature, which is great for cutting on the bias. And for any pieces that may be on irregular angles, but the 90-degree increments is still free. The fabric thickness adjustment mode is also a paid feature, and when working with thick fabrics, especially if you're using those ultra short throw projectors, it can affect the projection quite a bit, so this allows you to adjust your calibration without needing to recalibrate for those thick fabrics. As always, you can check their website for what the paid features or the pro features are and try out the free features first and see if you like to pay for the pro features. I also asked Saad where he saw the future of IntelliSew going, and one hope for the future is adding support for pattern manipulation, and I know you guys are getting excited about it. They would love to be able to avoid the back and forth of going between Affinity or Inkscape and projecting, and being able to do a few things directly in the app, such as allowing individual piece manipulation, such as selecting and dragging pieces to rotate, duplicate, flip, and maybe even playing pattern Tetris directly in the app. They would also love to see in the future being able to do some basic adjustments like changing seam allowance, lengthening or shortening a piece, or adjusting some of those pattern curves such as the neckline shape. They would also like to add features such as adding notches or buttons and buttonholes to pattern. But they are in the development mode. They would love to hear what you would like, what the community wants in this app. I've linked below their subreddit if you would like to add to it and give any suggestions. They also have an email I'll also link below if you would like to email them with any features that you would hope to see in the future. After spending time with IntelliSew, here's my takeaway. This app is really well thought out. You can tell it was designed with input from people who actually sew. The workflow makes sense, the interface is polished and professional, and it doesn't feel like an afterthought. And the focus is on phone-based projection, which specifically means it's optimized for those who like to use a phone in their projector sewing workflow. That said, to unlock everything IntelliSew has to offer, you need a subscription. So it's worth thinking about whether the features justify that cost for your setup and how often you sew. And if a subscription isn't for you, keep in mind Pattern Projector is still out there. It's free, open source, and it's genuinely a solid option, and no shame in sticking with what works. Ultimately, IntelliSew is a great choice if you want a premium, purpose-built experience on your phone. It's one of the most polished projector sewing apps that I've used, and right now it's only available on iPhones in the App Store. If this video helped you figure out which direction to go, give it a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. And if you're new and want to go deeper into projector sewing, I'll link some resources for you below, and make sure you check out the next video. I'll see you in the next one.